This is a Senseo coffee machine. And today, we look at which interesting components we can find inside it. The Senseo coffee machine is designed by Philips to provide a cup of coffee within 30 seconds. I'm therefore really curious to see which design they use to warm up the water that quickly. I can think of 3 options. The water passes through a big pipe surrounded by big heating elements. The water passes through a long small twisted pipe surrounded by heating elements. The water is warmed up by a dwarfish creature called Philip, using an old bucket placed on top of a wooden fire. Because the coffee machine is made by Philips, I expect it will be a hell to open, since many parts will be glued to prevent people from repairing anything. Also, note that, because it is Philips, I even have a second model of Senseo to look into. Philips' slogan is after all sense and simplicity, which denotes some intentions to make things simpler, not to make things of quality. And that obviously shows in our trash bins. Anyway. Alright, while I was not specifically looking for it, I see here we found our fault. The 3-way valve appears to be broken off the boiler. I thought a second this happened during the opening of the coffee machine, but since the machine was already leaking water before I started, this means the pipe was already disconnected before. However, since I do not know the history of this specific coffee machine, I do not know if this was the cause of the machine failure in the first place, or if this happened later as the machine was thrown away. So there you have it, a really simple and compact design to make coffee. The water leaves the water tank to enter the machine through the inlet valve. It then crosses the water pump to get pushed into the boiler assembly where it gets warmed up. It finally leaves the boiler through the 3-way valve that was here broken to reach the brew chamber, where it passes through a coffee pad to finally land in your cup. While we cannot see the components really well here without tearing everything apart, the second coffee machine allows us to see everything a lot better. starting by the inlet valve where the water enters. Before reaching the water pump here in red, the water gets afterwards pushed towards the boiler to reach boiling temperature, to finally leave the boiler and reach your cup via the brew chamber. Other components to note are the buttons that here do not seat on the PCB and the water tank sensor, checking if the coffee machine is not running out of water. All in all, quite straightforward. The last thing to note is something I cannot explain. While looking at the hose after the water pump, I discovered a small white hard plastic part conveniently blocking completely the water passage. This would definitely explain why water was no longer getting out of the coffee machine. In my simple mind, there is no need for that part to be there, except if your plan is to cause the coffee machine to eventually be unusable. So if you know what it is, and if you want to explain to me in the comments below that we do not have here an example of product planned obsolescence by a manufacturer that willingly cripple its products to force consumers into a new purchase, I would be grateful to know.